Oh, hello everybody. My name's Claire and welcome to my video blog. Now, I wasn't sure whether I was going to do this one. It's not directly related to my Brexit EU referendum videos that I'm doing in the immediate run-up to the British referendum on the EU. But something really major's happened in the last couple of days, and I've been watching the reactions to it, and I feel I have to make my own comments on it. What I'm referring to is the Orlando mass shooting at the gay nightclub. Obviously, first of all, one has to express one's condolences to the families and loved ones of the people murdered on that night, and it's kind of hard to talk about that because there's this kind of, immense feeling that obviously it's completely impossible for me to have any understanding of what it must be like, for those people. But I'm very worried that this awful emotion that people are experiencing that is being attempted by some to channel it into certain directions and away from other directions. And for instance, well, I've been watching the reactions out there. We've had I was watching, looking at pictures of the vigil in London yesterday evening, and then I saw the pictures of the Eiffel Tower projected with rainbow colours on it, and then there was at the vigil in London last night, I saw some pictures of somebody who had a placard saying he was against homophobia and Islamophobia. And then I saw another one today, which I think was from another demonstration, and this one was from a young man who was apparently gay and a Muslim. And I don't have any problem with him being gay and a Muslim. It's more the ideology that's behind this that I think a lot of Muslims probably don't even know that they're kind of supporting by their demographic presence. But I'll get to the real reason why I'm making this blog in a minute. I'd just like to also refer to another comment I picked up from Hillary Clinton, who apparently has recently said, I'm not sure if this is before or after the shooting, I hope it was before, but knowing Hillary Clinton. Anyway, she said that Muslims have nothing whatsoever to do with terrorism. Now, even if this was a comment she made before the shooting, that's really quite a remarkable statement to say. I mean, she didn't have to say it. And so there's it's kind of shying away from the Islam issue on this, which I find a little bit, it's what's getting called cucked in the certain segments of the population, which means that giving in to let others decide. What else do we have? Oh yes, this thing about tributes. Well, tributes to the murdered people. Well, I mean, I feel that this is playing into a misrepresentation. A tribute in the original sense was towards somebody who had achieved something and perhaps they had sort of suffered or died in the consequences. Oh, you might think of somebody like the Admiral Lord Nelson, who died at the moment of achieving his supreme victory. And one would want to pay tribute to his sacrifice and his achievement. and that's great. I'm kind of worried about the way that paying tribute to anonymous gay people, who I feel the tribute is the wrong word. We should mourn them. Certainly, I have no problem with that. Paying tribute is kind of making it sound like they achieved something. Well, they came out, but it sounds like it was a pretty kind of tolerant kind of area where, you know, gay people wouldn't normally be hassled. So I'm not sure what the correct word would be, but I feel tribute is wrong, and it kind of makes it look like they're martyrs, which they are, but that it's like they were trying to do something. And I'm kind of worried about the way that this associates with this whole LGBT martyr thing, which allows, I heard somebody describe it recently as, in recent times, LGBT people have been elevated to the status of saints, which is very, 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 very strange for like this minority. And this is the point at which, I'm sorry, I'm going to upset some people here when I say this. I know some of my friends on the alt-right, if they didn't know this, they're going to be upset, and I'm very, very sorry, but I'm an LGBT person myself, and I'm not going to say any more about that. It's just a personal matter to me. And if you want to know more about that, you can listen to my interview with Lana Lockteff on Radio 314 archive at the Red Ice Radio website, which has just been a new website, redice.tv. You'll be able to find that on there, where I talk about the cultural Marxist influence on the LGBT movement and how it, I believe, has been corrupted and misled into directions that it should not have been. So I just want to get that out of the way. So for all those social justice warriors out there who were going to say, oh, she's homophobic, you know, well, I've kind of got, you know, I just have to pull it out of the bag that towards social justice warriors, you know, I've got an ace in the hole. It's my LGBT victim privilege. So I'm allowed to say this, right? I'm allowed to say this, that I think the LGBT movement, or at least the visible media image that is being put across at the moment, is playing into the hands of this social justice warrior business, because it's completely, well, maybe not completely, but it's very much turning away from what is the ideology that is behind this. The fellow who did the murders in Florida, he had, I don't need to detail this, you can look at this, listen to Trump's speech. That guy was just deeply embedded in Islamism, and Islamism was deeply embedded in him. It's quite clear that the ideology that he had grown up, the religious, intolerant ideology that he had grown up with, that he had pursued, is clearly deeply involved, is at the back of his motivation for this, what he did, this atrocity. And I'm absolutely ashamed the cuckoldry of the LGBT movement, or at least the visible people who are saying, oh, we mustn't submit to hate, and, you know, this is as much about Islamophobia as it is about homophobia. And sure, this was a homophobic attack, but I don't think I've experienced a homophobic experience of a white European person towards me in a very long time. I don't think that most people from the kind of European American post-Christian culture are that bothered about it, and I think a lot of Christians are pretty much okay with it these days, and I certainly don't think that we haven't got kind of Christians shooting down dozens of gay people like this. And even in the Christian community, there is the ability for a nuanced discussion of this, which there is just completely not in Islam. I have seen, actually, there is probably one, I suppose I should mention him. I've only just cottoned on to his existence, and I understand he's a bit controversial. Milo Yiannopoulos has apparently, yes, I have seen a few of his tweets, and he does seem to be pointing out that Islam has something to do with this, so good for him. I know he's a bit controversial, and people say that him and his employers, Breitbart, are controlled opposition, which it is possible, but it's good to see them coming out on the side of pointing out that yes, this is homophobic, but it's also coming from Islam. I'm sure people must have seen these pictures of Islamic extremists throwing gay people off buildings. And remember that Islamism is not keen on women either. The whole difference between the Christian and post-Christian culture of the West and Islam is that, at principle, the West is open-minded. It's allowed the development of rights amongst groups which Islam would never allow. Women and gays in Islamic society are really, really downtrodden, and it is my own view also, so I can retain a little bit of support from my friends in the alt-right, that certainly there's no doubt about it that feminism and gay rights have gone far too far. They're putting minority interests, in the case of LGBT, ahead of the majority, but now we find that this is kind of playing badly because it's been now clearly established that the LGBT victim card is less of a trump card, if you'll pardon the reference there, than Islam. Islam seems to, the gay people have to shy away from Islam. Islam did this, but, well, we can't actually mention it because apparently Islam out-trumps the victimhood of gay people. Now, I think this is something that gay people have to realise, that the rise of Islam is not good for gay people, it's not good for women, and it's not good for freedom of thought. It's not good for freedom of thought at all. The whole political correctness thing seems to be very much either playing into this hand or even being created by people who would like it to become this way. So I think that's pretty much what I needed to say. Islam and tolerant Western culture, which allows for the fact that LGBT people exist and you can't exterminate them, so we have to have a system whereby those who want to eradicate other people are excluded from our society, because that is the irony of it. If we have these people, if we have people who follow these ideologies, I suppose I should say, then things like this will continue to happen. Just putting up various different signs or some virtue signalling on the Eiffel Tower, this is meaningless. It might give you some kind of feeling of solidarity, we're all standing together, but really that doesn't mean much unless you are going out and dealing with the cause of it. And the cause of it is far more than one nutcase. It's an entire culture, it's an entire ideology, and this ideology is it's LGBT hostile, it's women hostile, it's hostile to rock concert goers at Paris venues, it's hostile to London people, it's hostile to Brussels travellers. The whole thing is hostile to our freedom, basically, and this was just one instance. Gay people saying, oh, this is all about homophobia, forget Islamophobia, blah blah blah. They're completely missing the point. Completely missing the point. They're just another target. You know, next time it'll probably be a convention of feminists, you know, and then they'll be making excuses. Oh no, this is just misogyny, it's nothing to do with Islam. So, you know, we have to face facts, folks, and this is what it is. You know, the LGBT world has to accept that Islam does not like it, and this is not just merely generalised white male heterosexual homophobia or other such nonsense as that. This is an ideological attack on us, on our culture, on our freedoms, on the tolerance within our groups that allows these things to happen, and we just have to realise what it is and take the choice to stand up against that particular unpleasant ideology which is seeking to take over our world. So, righto, well, I'll be back with another Brexit one shortly. Okay, so thank you very much. Two is the Orlando mass shooting at the gay nightclub. Obviously, first of all, one has to express one's condolences to the families and loved ones of the people murdered on that night, and it's kind of this awful emotion that people are experiencing is that is being attempted by some to channel it into certain directions, but something really major's happened in the last couple of days, and I've been watching the reactions to it, and I feel I have to make my own comments on it. What I'm referring to... Oh, hello everybody, my name's Claire and welcome to my video blog. Now, I wasn't sure whether I was going to do this one. It's not directly related to my Brexit EU referendum videos that I'm doing in the immediate run-up to the British referendum on the EU. Hard to talk about that because there's this kind of, you know, immense feeling that obviously it's completely impossible for me to have any understanding of what it must be like, you know, for those people. But I'm very worried that